welcome to DigFin VOX, Voices in Digital Finance. I'm your host, Jame DiBiasio. Support what we're doing with a simple like and get that algorithm to work. My guest is Charles Hung, CEO of Blue, a Hong Kong licensed digital insurance company. We spoke about the challenges and the opportunities for pure digital insurance. Product, tech, can it work? Charles Hung, welcome to DigFin VOX. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
It's been a little while since you and I last interacted, and I'm really curious to learn how Blue is doing as a digital insurer in Hong Kong. Maybe tell us a little bit about the past year or so, what you've been able to achieve in terms of product and some of the key metrics.
Of course. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. Our overall vision for Blue has always been to deliver simple, flexible, and valuable solution to our customers. And we've been trying to do that by really three areas of disruption, right? Mainly on marketing, products, and also technology and customer experience. Why do we actually have to focus on these three areas? Marketing, obviously, without intermediary, I think we need to do a very different approach on the marketing side. You mentioned about product. I'm going to cover that a little bit, but product definitely, I think, in terms of market pain point or market norm, they're full of very traditional products, Me Too products, lack of innovation. So we do believe there's a lot of room for disruption and also innovation. And finally, it's really about customer experience and also technologies, right? So we have been leveraging on a lot of very innovative technologies to actually help us to make the customer experience even better for our customer, given that I think we are a direct insurer. So let me maybe go back to a little bit.
Let's unpack those three big things and start with marketing if you want. I mean, as you say, as a digital insurer, you don't have agents, you don't have bank assurance. You've had to do it all. And when the last time we did something with you was about 2 years ago. We did an article, and at that point you had racked up, and you were new at this point, of course, but you still had racked up about 300 million impressions, 1 million site visits, 3 to 4 million social media engagements, and at that point that had added up to being about 80,000 new accounts and an actual over 1,000 policies actually sold. That was in your early days. You had just gotten out the gates, probably less than a year. So, right. So from a marketing point of view, how have you grown it from that, and what are some of the tricks of the trade?
Of course. No, excellent question. Sorry. I think given that we are direct insurer, we need to have a very different approach to engage our customers and actually reach out to our customers. So we have been using data to drive our digital marketing, and that itself is actually not enough. Also, from a content perspective, very carefully we have been using culturally relevant content to actually reach out to different customer segments. For example, the younger segment, they prefer the language being used or the content being used is a lot more trendy, a lot more wow, maybe a lot more use a lot more slangs, for example, right? For older segment, we use a different approach. Our language tend to be a little bit more corporate, tend to be a little bit more formal, I think, and also the content is actually tuned. Even the tone of the messages are actually tuned to fit the culture or the behavior of those specific segments. So those are the kind of content design. And also we've been using, I did talk about, we have been using a lot of data. We use a lot of data to allow us to do more focused marketing, more accurate marketing, meaning based on the profile of the segment group. For example, financial industry people, we use slightly different messages. And our customer has been, largely belong to those those financial segments. So it looks like the conversion rate for those is a lot higher. So we look for those people in a way, right? We use data to look for those people. But there's a lot more to this. I think in terms of on the digital marketing side, we use gamifications. We design games to engage our customers. We don't always just talk about sales immediately. Yeah. I think if you go through that life cycle of converting a customer, you have to kind of give them kind of the awareness and also and then bring to conversion. So
how do you find that engagement, if I may ask, Charles? Because obviously insurance is typically not something that people engage with on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
But yet you need to find ways to keep people, they need to have you want them to be thinking blue in some way or another. Have you tried, any war stories you could share about how you've been able to try to hone your process?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I think insurance is not something that you think about every day, right? And insurance is not something that most of the people are aware of the needs. So there needs to be a part of that is about education, right? We need to educate our people or our customers or potential customers the importance of insurance. So there's a part of the messages that the early stage of the messages that we tailor for certain part of customers are really about education. It's really about teaching them the importance of insurance, and then leading to having some fun, having some interesting tools to actually engage them. For example, I think during Chinese New Year a couple of years ago, we designed a Zodiac game, subtly bring out the importance of insurance, right? And then we also have the Blue Guru games that we designed, trying to purely, it's not trying to sell our product, it's really trying to bring the awareness of insurance, educate the customer segment, and also just bring them increase their awareness of our brand. And then certainly we have other very, very specific product specific marketing messages later on. But again, I think if you go through the cycle, it's really on education first, awareness first, and then decision making, and those are the cycle that we actually go through.
Yeah, could you give us any update on terms of how many people you're touching? The touch points now that you've got some numbers around. I guess the way you measure social media engagements or site visitors or other ways to measure.
Yeah. Well, perhaps I can give you some of the more specific measurement in terms of the business, right? I think we launched our business about 3 years ago, 2018, September. The initial 2 years has been a very challenging time. The past 2 years, we have been experiencing a very rapid growth. So far, the accumulated premium from the internet has exceeded 1.2 billion Hong Kong dollars. Mm-hmm. And that has been, we've been experiencing a very high percentage of growth. In terms of number of policies, for example, I think 2021 versus 2020 is almost 100% growth in terms of number of policies. And on APE, very healthy growth, very steady growth. And I think we're seeing those trends continuing.
Do you see other big trends, before we get maybe into the detail around some of your other parts of your business, some of the big trends that are driving people to look at insurance in a digital fashion, whether it's from insurtech companies doing pieces of insurance or it's other digital insurers such as yourself? What's happening in this space?
Sure. Well, first of all, the COVID situation has certainly increased the customers' kind of demands for health products. Mm-hmm. That's number one. And also, it's also driving the needs to actually do more internet interactions, right? Because face-to-face need to be reduced. A lot of people are more ready or more accepted to actually do online business. So we are seeing an increasing demand or increasing traffic from both internet services and also health products. Right? As a trend, I think just in terms of competitions, right? Certainly, we're seeing a lot more competition of pure digital players. I think you probably see there are more new players coming into the market. But at the same time, the competition is more than that. I think even traditional players is now focusing a lot more on the digital side as well. Digital strategy used to be kind of a differentiated strategy, but now I'm sure most of the company has a part of the strategy talking about digital. So we're seeing competition both from direct players, pure direct players, and also even traditional players.
What is that differentiation then? Because some of those traditional players, they're big. They've got brand name power. They got plenty of marketing firepower if they want. And they've got relationships with lifestyle apps and things like that. So how do you carve out your differential?
I'm glad that you mentioned about big, because sometimes big means heavy as well, right? I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting that way myself as I enter my 50s.
I would say that I think we do have the advantage of being extremely focused on direct. We don't have baggages. I think a lot of the stuff that we have is more advanced, is a lot more innovative. I would say that I think versus many traditional players tend to be just putting the product on the internet and just sell the same product as other channels, right? But for me, I think those doesn't give you the privilege of being a digital player, right? A digital player means that you have to address market pain points, really bring a different experience to your customers. But purely putting your existing product on the internet, it really doesn't make you a digital player. So for us, I think we always adhere to the principle of addressing market pain points. So everything that we do is about addressing market pain points. If I'm not addressing a market pain point, I don't do it. Right? I'll give you some examples. Right? Some of the products that we design is market first. Right? I give you our flagship products, our savings products, traditional endowment products, 5 years endowment products. Normally, the customer doesn't break even until the final year or until maturity, right? Anytime if you surrender before that, normally there's a chance that you might not get back all your principals, right? Our products, 5 years endowment with a very attractive guarantee interest. At the same time, you can surrender anytime, 0 surrender charges, right? Really addressing the market pain point of having a serious penalty when you surrender before maturity. So that's our flagship saving products, right? On our protection products, I'll give you another example. I think insurance product give people very often the impression that is very rigid, it's very non-flexible. Once you buy it, you have to stick to it. You can't make any changes to it. Our term life products, you can actually make changes to your sum assured, making changes to the term, really addressing the market pain point. There are people, when they go through life stages changes, right? Their financial situation might change as well. Sometimes they might want to increase their coverage, and they might, at a certain point, they might want to reduce their coverage, right? So our product allow you to actually make changes without having the needs of surrender or buying another different product.
Yeah, I can see how, and obviously you've tailored those, designed those digitally. So it's, I guess from the back end, from an efficiency point of view, it's easy for you to do that. But is it also, is that profitable? I mean, there's a reason why I guess insurance companies have been able to get away with what seem like non-consumer friendly policies, either because they just can and they're cynical, or because they have to be able to remain profitable. How do you keep, how do you envision, you're still a young company, how do you envisage Blue's profile when it comes to revenues and profits?
Sure, certainly. I think, well, first of all, we don't have intermediary cost. So that gives us a lot of space to invest in technologies and also invest in kind of the marketing so that we can actually reach out to our customer directly. I would say that I think we're still at the growing stage. I think we can continue to grow, right? I think we can continue to grow to reach a profitability level. But we are very optimistic about kind of the outlook at this point. I think if you look at the growth that we are experiencing or we are achieving, I would say that I think the outlook is very, very, very positive.
And of course, I mean, you know, you talked about some of the trends, and of course, it's you're the CEO, so you know you're positive by default. I think that's the job. But what are some of the challenges to get there?
The insurance, for the most part, have been given people that the impression of just expensive, poor customer service, inflexible, complicated, a lot of jargon. I don't understand it. What is it? I mean, so that has been the baggages of insurance, right? And also, I think if you look at the penetration so far for direct has always been kind of a very low single digit, 1 to 2%, and that has been staying at that level for a long time. I think partly because of the kind of the impression of insurance, but at the same time, kind of the lack of disruptors and also lack of innovators that can actually bring out new products, new innovations, new customer experience to the customers. I think if you look at those market pain points, inflexibilities, complicated, expensive, poor services, that spells for opportunities. But at the same time, I would say that that's also a baggage, right? Because that's also a challenge as well, because while it means there's a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, we need to overcome those pain points in order to turn them into opportunities. One other challenge is that I think I would like to add is also, I think Jame, you're also in Hong Kong as well. You probably know that the local market tend to be a little bit behind in terms of adopting just the digital technology for the most part. I think if you look at the e-wallet usage in Hong Kong is relatively low. Just in general, I think people's behavior in terms of utilizing digital technology, I mean, doing e-business online, I would say that this is still a lot of room for improvement. So that itself has been challenging for us, to really push that forward. What it means is that we have to be even more innovative, or coming up with even a better customer experience for people, to attract people to actually utilize the digital technology.
Are you at a point where the big incumbents in Hong Kong should be scared of you?
Well, I have a lot of discussions with some of the big guys. I think I'm hoping that at a certain point they will be afraid of us. We're heading in that direction, certainly.
Okay, good. Let's talk a little bit about the technology as well, which I think is part of the user experience that you've been discussing. Tencent is one of your key stakeholders, and I guess you've been leveraging some of their high tech. Can you tell us a little bit about what that relationship has been like, and how you're using technology in ways that you think are competitive?
Yep. Well, first of all, let's talk about our shareholders. Right? Tencent is one of our shareholders, and also Hill House is also one of our shareholders. We're now 80% owned by Hill House, 20% owned by Tencent. It has been part of our strategies to really leverage on these two industry giants, leverage on their capabilities. Hill House obviously is a very well-known investment manager, asset manager. Tencent, internet giants, a lot of innovations and technology. And for us as an insurance company, I think investment is very important. Investment capability is very important. Technology is also very important. So we've been trying to leverage their capabilities. And then on the question about technology, if you look at our 24/7 platform right now, straight through processing, the infrastructure that we have is on Tencent Cloud. The facial recognitions technologies that we have is also utilizing the Tencent technology. So there have been a lot of collaboration in terms of leveraging some of the best technology. And then we're going to continue to do that. I think if you look at the Tencent Cloud has been giving us a lot of flexibilities for us to kind of stay 24/7 with appropriate securities and stability.
Do you see opportunities for you in terms of the Greater Bay Area, right? This idea of integrating Hong Kong services with Macau and 9 major cities in Guangdong province?
No, absolutely. We've been watching that very, very, very closely to ensure that I think we capture those opportunities. Right? I think GBA certainly, I think, is 10 times the population of Hong Kong. The big opportunity really is the low penetration of insurance, right, relative to those mature markets. So that there is a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities in GBA. I would love to see that. I think we can leverage on our digital capability so that we can actually reach out to the customers of the GBA faster than the traditional model. But again, I think a lot of these is still unknown until we have to wait until the appropriate regulations and guidance, I think, from the government and from the regulators.
Yeah. What about in terms of in Hong Kong itself, opportunities to work with other digital financial service providers? We've seen the rise of virtual banks here. Your stakeholders also have a stake in one of those. Is that a potential digital source of business relationship? But what bank assurance? Sorry, digital bank assurance opportunity.
For digital banks, I would say that I think is a great opportunity. It's something that we would love to explore. But again, I think it will require a lot more thinking, including kind of the regulatory side as well. So, but again, I think that itself is an opportunity. I would say I think it's something that we will exploit at the right time. When it comes to Blue, I think we're going to continue to focus on our vision, continue to focus on the 3 areas of disruption. If there's one key thing that we will be even more focused on, it's really the utilization of data. I always been telling my guys, I think a data-driven product or technology is not enough. What we really want to do is actually data-driven all. Everything has to be data-driven. Everything has to be based on our experience with our customer, the data. We need to analyze it. We need to improve ourselves. And then from those data, how can we actually better serve our customers? So data-driven all is going to be a key focus for Blue going forward.
The sources of data that you're dealing with, obviously a lot of it comes from customer interaction. Are there other sources, data that you are using or want to use?
Sure. Well, first of all, we have accumulated a lot of customer kind of behavioral information. Again, those are not necessarily personalized, but really as kind of the big data sets. We're analyzing trends. We're analyzing kind of patterns in order to kind of react better. We're also reacting to we look at drop-off points, right? We look at drop-off points on our site. We look at where people, for example, stay more time on. We analyze those information, try to better understand some of the challenges that they are actually facing when they utilize our portal. So we utilize a lot of those data, I think, but those are all kind of internal data. We're also looking at some external data as well. External data means there's some pattern information that in the social media side, for example, we're analyzing prospects who has been visiting us for a few times, but didn't convert. So what happened, and those kind of information. So we do a lot of those analysis, and also A/B testing, trying to provide the customer with better experience and more tailored information, or more appropriate information. So all those informations are being utilized. But again, I think we're going to continue to optimize in that area to ensure that we bring the best customer experience to our customers.
How end to end are you at this stage? I think you probably start off with a big focus on the front end, that initial user experience on their mobile, but claims and other parts of the process, is that now, is there still a manual aspect to that, or are you trying to digitize the whole thing?
Well, we are a life insurance company, right? So there's certain part of the process inevitably require physical copies and all that kind of stuff. That has posed some challenges of fully digitalizing the whole claim process. However, having said that, I think we have been very innovative in our claims process. I think a few of the claim process of the products are now fully digitalized or fully automated. We actually utilize AI technologies to actually automate those claim services. I'm actually quite proud to say that. I think, for example, for one of our products called Pharmacy, where people can actually claim their pharmacy expenses as part of the coverage of the product. All they need to do is just submit the receipts, and then go through our AI system, and normally the customer can actually receive their claim within 2 hours.
Great. Well, I think our conversation has also been end to end today. So Charles, I want to thank you so much for visiting us on DigFin VOX and sharing what's going on at Blue.
Thank you very much for having me here today.